What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to GGarage. Today we got a pretty big task in store. We're gonna get this 440 completely mounted in the chassis. So if you all watched the last video, the very first video, I gave a quick little look at these engine mounts. They're all plasma cut and developed by a company out of Canada called Welder Series. Awesome company. I've used a lot of their products. They're also the ones that made the frame curves. So what we got in store for us today is we have to center the motor inside of the frame rails. We're a little bit heavy on the passenger side, so it needs to come over about 1.5 inches, and that way you can also see it where we cut out the firewall. So first things first, we're gonna have to get the engine hoist hooked up. Right now we have it supported on 1, 2, and 3 jack stands. Like before, it ain't going nowhere. All right, so first things first, let's get the engine off the jack stands and center it up. So now that we have the motor supported by the engine hoist itself, we're gonna come in and we're gonna check to see what our side-to-side clearance is from the front shock tower. And we got 2 inches and 7/8 on the passenger side. So let's come around and check this. We are only at 1.25 inches on the driver's side. So let's do some quick math. All right, with some quick math, we figured out that we have 4 1/8 that we get to work with. So divide that by 2. We have to have from right here to here 2 1/16, and that will keep us right in line and right in the center of our frame. So let's figure that out and get this thing situated so we can start working with these. When we get to these, you'll see they're pretty darn cool. You can see the plasma cuts right there. I'll show you how all those work. All right, so after some finagling, I think we got it pretty darn close. There's that side. There's that side. Okay, so if we come down here, we can see 2 1/16. There we go. Then we come to the other side to double check it. We get 2 1/16. So I think we were pretty darn good there. So today we're going to learn how to use these Welder Series engine mounts. So as you can see, you get the 3 lines that are cut. There you go, you can see through there. So first things first, we're gonna get our vise. I guess you don't really need a vise. You can also use adjustable pliers I've seen people use, and then just a clamp on like the frame. So let's see here. All right, you can see that just about 1/16 off. All right, you just start pulling it. It'll bend right across there. There you go. And there it is. Perfect. All right, what we had had one snap on us, so we'll deal with that here in a second. But we're gonna take this, make sure we're at a 90. We're currently on our fixture table at the moment, and we're just gonna go ahead and lay a little bead in here. First, we're gonna clean up this old cut scale. So it's kind of really shiny in there. Yeah, there you go. All right, so let's clean that up real quick. Not too bad. There we go. So once done, flip this over and we'll work on the second. All right, cool. There we go. One TIG welded engine mount. Now to do it again. 2. Welded engine mounts. Not too shabby. All right. So here's our fully assembled engine mount, right? Nice, pretty, big polyurethane engine mount. You know, the works. Now here is our engine mount that attaches to the actual engine. Well, obviously, the one that attached to the frame is 6 inches. This is only from this back of the bolt hole to here is 3.5. This is a 1/2 inch hole, so from the center to there, it's 3 1/4. So we have to do some quick math and figure out how we are going to measure and cut our chassis mount to our engine mount. And then we'll figure that all out from there. All right, so here we go. If you look down in there, you see the bronze bushing for the motor mount. I guess, yeah, the bushing on the motor mount. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold out to 2 inches on the inside, or I guess the outside. And then we're gonna come over here, we're gonna measure to the frame, which is 4.5. So 4.5 minus 2, 2.5. So that's where our rough estimate should be. We'll cut it a little bit longer, probably, 2 5/8, see where that puts us. And then we can trim it back down from there. Let's measure 2.5 from the top of this hole. Measure 2.5 from the top of this hole down. We'll mark it, then we'll come down and we'll do the same through here on both sides. All right, so we got our hole there. All right, we said 2.5, so let's jump it out 2 5/8. That gives us a little bit of wiggle room to work with. There we go. There's that. Play. So here's your big 6 and 7 inch one. Make sure that's all lined up, looking pretty. There we go. All right, and there we go. Marked all the way around. working the batteries tonight. All right, there we go. Let's go see how this looks. So another reason why I decided to leave an 1/8 on the back side is this frame actually widens. It's kind of hard to see, but if you look at it, it actually curves out. So subsequently, the front is going to be closer than the rear is. So if we have some room to make up in the rear, we can make it up. All right, let's see how close we got. All right, so here we go. We got everything kind of softly bolted in, not too shabby. There you go. Now, because the truck is so low, I have these cutouts for the steering rack. See how that works? Well, where we're positioning the motor, it hits right there. So what we got to do is we got to come across, cut that. If you can see it, got to come across, cut this right here, and then see where we end up from there. This is always the tedious part of any kind of build, the small stuff. So I want to see if I can just think of a couple ways to, you know, make it easy and we could see. So what I ended up doing was just, you know, keeping that brass bushing. So we centered it on the bolt hole, and then we're just taking a look. I mean, we're pretty spot on everything. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna swap this bushing back over, mark where we need to cut, and then cut it and see where we lay. Okay, so here we go. Not too shabby a fitment on this side. All right, and then you guys might be wondering, what about this? Well, if you remember at the beginning, there was 3 of those. So what we're gonna do is once we have the sides tacked in, we'll come up, we'll bend that down, and we'll do a nice little seam weld right across the top. And then she should be good to go. I might reinforce it a little bit, but I'm not too sure yet. We'll see what happens when we get there. All right, but before we do that, let's get the other side all jazzed up, and we will be on our way to actually getting this thing solidly mounted. Man, that looks good. I've been waiting for this day for a while. And you know, it's just been one thing after another with this truck. And a lot of it's just time and, well, money. But we're here. Let's do it. All right, so once again, we're gonna go off this hole right here. We're gonna come up 2 5/8. Mark that. Transfer down the sides. Cut. we go. Okay, cool. Just like the other side, gotta notch it out for the steering rack. All right, and there we go. Second one, pretty much ready to be welded in. Not too shabby. I'm gonna do the same thing like on the other side and figure that all out. All right, so pull out the old trusty rusty laser. Kind of see it right there. So it's gonna be hard to pick it up. I know that this side of the bracket right here is the middle of the truck. 100%. Sit. Keep going, keep going. Look at that. I also know it's in the middle of the frame. So, right now, if we come here, we look at our bolt on the crankshaft, we gotta come over to the passenger side, just a hair. Just measured it out. So between the center to center is 26 and a half, or set 26 and a quarter, and we are at 13 and a quarter. So that means we got to move the motor to the passenger side 1/8 of an inch, which I think will be fine. So what we'll probably end up doing is we'll probably tack in that motor mount right there, and that gives us a nice sturdy pivot point, and we can move this one in. Now it looks like this one's further back, but it's just where the motor mounts are actually cast into the block. This one's back just a hair further from the front of the block. This is like, oh, I want to say, like a quarter of an inch, something like that. Quarter of an inch, 3/8 of an inch, something like that. Further back than the subsequent side. So let's get that side tacked in, and then we'll pivot this motor a little bit, and we'll be on our way. And this thing is getting one step closer to being done. All right, let's get to it. Good illustration what we're looking at. So we know our dampener is 7 inches wide. We're laying right there at 3.5. So we're sitting pretty darn good. Let's try to lower this thing back down a little bit. Ensure that we're in the right spot. Make sure we're level. All right, and that's how we mount a 440 big block into the narrow frame rails of a 51 Dodge pickup. Once again, here we go. Let's take another real close good look. There we go. There's that. Couple little tack welds. Nothing major. All that mounted. And I mean, thing's sturdy. Now, I mean, of course, only the front two are mounted at the moment. The back are still on jack stands. Kind of hard to see, but take my word, I guess. So there's that, and you got the front, and real hard to see. I know it's not going to come in back. Here's the other side. Same dang thing. Looking good. Now I still have to bend these down and weld to there, but that's not, you know, significant for what we're going to be doing at this moment in time. But yeah, that's it. There you go. She's in there, and she's freaking level. Gotta love that. Gotta love it. All right. I hope you liked this episode of G's Garage. Once again, 440's in. That's always exciting. If you guys have any questions, any, you know, tips that would have made this go easier, I'd really appreciate you leave a comment. And if you like what you're seeing, you know, hit the like button, subscribe, do us all a favor. And if you have any questions about tools I use, things like that, always here to help. You know, that's what this channel is for. It's for, you know, me to learn, for you to learn. And once again, I'll keep trying to upload a video at least once a week so we can get this thing done and keep me accountable. All right, have a good night and make it faster.